We all know Rambo, the fearless one-man army who survives the impossible. But what if I told you there are real-life warriors who make Rambo look like an amateur? Now, these men didn't have Hollywood scripts. They faced relentless enemies, brutal conditions, and impossible odds, and they came out on top. From performing surgery on themselves to taking on armies single-handedly, these are the 3 deadliest soldiers in history. Their stories will blow your mind. Rambo 1, Jock McLaren, the escape artist. Captured, tortured, and left for dead, Jock McLaren didn't just escape once. He defied death over and over, turning the jungle into his battlefield and performing a surgery on himself to survive. Jock McLaren's story begins in the rugged Scottish Highlands, where he was born in 1902. But his path to becoming a legend didn't start until World War II. Serving as an officer in 1942, the Australian Army, McLaren was captured when Singapore fell to Japanese forces in 1942. Sent to the brutal Sandakan POW camp in Borneo, he faced starvation, disease, and daily torture. But McLaren wasn't about to let the enemy decide his fate. He escaped the camp with a small group, surviving on the barest scraps in the unforgiving Malaysian jungle. But freedom was short-lived. They were recaptured, beaten, and tortured for their defiance. Incredibly, McLaren didn't stop. He escaped again, this time making it to the Philippines, where he joined a guerrilla resistance. But his greatest test came when he developed appendicitis deep in the jungle. Without medical help, McLaren performed a self-surgery with a penknife, using coconut fibers as stitches. Against all odds, McLaren survived and returned to battle, leading daring guerrilla raids against the Japanese. His resilience and ingenuity earned him a place as one of the most extraordinary soldiers in history, a true real-life Rambo. Rambo 2, Audie Murphy, the one-man army. Outnumbered, outgunned, and left with no reinforcements, Audie Murphy climbed aboard a burning tank destroyer and held off an entire German battalion, alone. Audie Murphy wasn't born into glory. Growing up in poverty in Texas during the Great Depression, he learned to hunt and survive from a young age. When World War II broke out, he enlisted despite being underweight and undersized for combat. By the end of the war, Murphy had become America's most decorated soldier. The moment that cemented his legend came in January 1945 near Holtzwihr, France. Murphy's unit was overwhelmed by German forces, and most of his comrades were killed or wounded. But Murphy refused to retreat. He climbed onto a burning tank destroyer, grabbed a machine gun, and began firing. For over an hour, Murphy held off 200 enemy soldiers, calling in artillery strikes and buying time for reinforcements. When the dust settled, the Germans had retreated, and Murphy had single-handedly changed the tide of battle. For his actions, Murphy was awarded the Medal of Honor, but his heroism didn't end with the war. He became a voice for veterans struggling with PTSD, proving that bravery doesn't stop when the battle is over. Rambo 3, Simo Häyhä, the White Death. He didn't have an army or even a scope, but Simo Häyhä became the deadliest sniper in history, taking down over 500 enemy soldiers with nothing but patience and precision. In 1939, the Soviet Union invaded Finland in what became known as the Winter War. The Finnish army was vastly outnumbered, but they had fighters like Simo Häyhä. A farmer and hunter, Häyhä turned his mastery of the wilderness into an unstoppable weapon against the Soviets. For 100 days, Häyhä hid in the frozen forests, blending perfectly with the snow. Armed with a bolt-action rifle and iron sights, he racked up 505 confirmed kills. The Soviets were so terrified they launched counter-sniper missions and bombarded entire areas to eliminate him. But Häyhä was always one step ahead. In 1940, he was severely injured by an explosive bullet, but even this couldn't stop him. Häyhä survived and lived to see his homeland's victory. Simo Häyhä became a symbol of Finnish resilience and survival. His skill, patience, and determination earned him the nickname White Death, a fitting title for one of history's deadliest warriors. Rambo 4, Witold Pilecki, the volunteer to Auschwitz. Most people would do anything to avoid a Nazi concentration camp, but Witold Pilecki voluntarily infiltrated Auschwitz to gather intelligence and lead an underground resistance. Witold Pilecki was a Polish army officer and resistance fighter who carried out one of the most dangerous missions of World War II. In 1940, he volunteered for a plan so risky it seemed unimaginable: to infiltrate Auschwitz, the Nazis' most infamous concentration camp. Posing as a Jewish prisoner, Pilecki intentionally got himself arrested during a roundup in Warsaw. Once inside, Pilecki witnessed the daily horrors of life in Auschwitz: starvation, inhuman experiments, and mass executions. But instead of succumbing to despair, he focused on his mission, gathering evidence of Nazi atrocities and organizing resistance among the prisoners. Pilecki established a secret underground network within Auschwitz, smuggling critical intelligence to the Polish resistance. His reports detail the unimaginable scale of the genocide, providing some of the earliest proof of the Holocaust to the Allies. But Pilecki's daring didn't stop there. Over nearly 3 years, he sabotaged Nazi operations from the inside and helped prisoners escape. When his cover was nearly blown, he made a harrowing escape, stealing a Nazi uniform and navigating through enemy patrols to freedom. Despite being severely weakened by the ordeal, he refused to rest and immediately rejoined the resistance. After the war, Pilecki's heroism was overshadowed by Poland's political turmoil. The new communist regime branded him a traitor, and in 1948 he was executed after a show trial. Despite this tragic end, his legacy endures as a symbol of courage and sacrifice. Pilecki didn't just survive Auschwitz, he fought back from the heart of darkness. Rambo 5, Lyudmila Pavlichenko, the Lady Death. She didn't just fight in a war, she dominated it. With 309 confirmed kills, Lyudmila Pavlichenko became the most deadly female sniper in history. When Nazi Germany launched its invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941, Lyudmila Pavlichenko was a 25-year-old history student. But instead of staying in the classroom, she took up arms, becoming one of the Red Army's most lethal snipers. Her first deployment was at the siege of Odessa, where she quickly distinguished herself with 100 confirmed kills. Pavlichenko's skill wasn't just about marksmanship, it was her unparalleled patience and ability to blend into her surroundings. She could wait for hours, sometimes days, to take the perfect shot. At Sevastopol, Pavlichenko faced her most grueling challenge. Surrounded by relentless Nazi forces, she continued her mission to eliminate high-value targets, including enemy officers and snipers. Her reputation became so fearsome that the Germans began broadcasting propaganda directly at her, pleading for her to surrender. One of her most legendary moments came in a sniper duel that lasted 3 days. The enemy sniper was considered one of the best in the German ranks, but Pavlichenko's patience and precision won out. When the duel ended, it was the enemy who lay defeated. By the end of her combat career, Pavlichenko had 309 confirmed kills, including 36 enemy snipers. Wounded in battle multiple times, she was eventually pulled from the front lines and sent on a tour to rally Allied support. She met President Roosevelt and Eleanor Roosevelt, becoming a symbol of Soviet strength. Pavlichenko's story isn't just about her kills, it's about her determination to stand tall against overwhelming odds. Jock McLaren, Audie Murphy, Simo Häyhä, Witold Pilecki, and Lyudmila Pavlichenko, 5 warriors from different corners of the world, united by their extraordinary bravery. They didn't just fight battles, they changed the course of history. These are the stories of legends proving that courage knows no bounds. Which of these real-life Rambos impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more incredible stories like these. Trust us, the next video might just blow your mind.